India's space mission is in full throttle. We have witnessed the success of our third moon mission, and our quest to unearth the secrets around the sun is underway. Now we have set our sights at something more ambitious, sending humans to space. India's Gaganyaan mission envisages demonstration of human space flight capability. Indian astronauts will be sent to space via low Earth orbit at an altitude of 400 kilometers for 3 days. Today, the Indian Space Research Organization held the launch of Gaganyaan's first flight test vehicle abort mission. Even though there were initial hiccups with the launch being delayed twice due to weather conditions and a last-minute automated hold, the trial has been a roaring success. It's been a successful demonstration of the crew escape systems functioning, including the touchdown at sea. As India continues to grow leaps and bounds beyond the boundaries of Earth, there is now a vision to build our own space station by 2035 and also send a man to moon by 2040. The Gaganyaan mission should further consolidate India's stature as a rising power in the space sector. I also would like to inform our viewers that we are opening our call-in lines. So our call-in lines are now open. We're going to be putting our numbers there on the bottom of your screen. If our producers can put our call-in line on the bottom of our screen there, we will put out our phone lines so you can call us. Your thoughts and opinions on this big feat achieved by ISRO today. You can also ask any question you may have for our experts on the program, and we will help get them answered for you. Let's please quickly put out the numbers on the bottom of our screen, and then our viewers, of course, can call in with their opinion. Let me quickly also introduce our guests. We have Group Captain V.N. Jha, former Joint Director DRDO, joining us live. Dr. W. Selvamurthy, former DRDO scientist, joins us live. Also with us is Surinder Pal, former ISRO scientist. Let me begin with you first, Group Captain Jha. What do you make of the way the mission this morning panned out? Do you believe this test has been very successful?
Absolutely. The test has been very, very successful. And since it was going to test the crew ejection system in the cases of the uncertainty of the path of the rocket in case if it veers off. So we had some unpredictability in its launch as well. Just 5 seconds before its launch, we saw the flame coming out for the ignition and then shutting off. A computer shut it off. So all those dramas we have seen of the uncertainty that any rocket launch can have. And this particular test, what was planned today, crew escape system, is meant exactly for that. Uday, just for your viewers, I would like to tell you that since we will be carrying the crew with the human, we can't take any chances. Should the rocket veer off its course, go uncontrolled, become uncontrollable, or achieve a parameter which is counterproductive to the placement of the crew module in the orbit, then it needs to be destroyed. So before the destruction of the rocket, the crew escape system separates out the crew module in which the crew are sitting from the rocket, and takes it to the safer distance, safer place away from the debris of the rocket. And there it makes the landing, whether it is in the sea or anywhere, at a deceleration, at a descent rate, which is within the tolerance limit of the crew. So this is what the test was all about. It has gone all well, though some of us, we have some small minor questions about the framing of the test profile, but then compliments to ISRO that it has all gone well today.
Yes, let me also, in fact, quickly just remind our producers to quickly put out our phone lines there on the bottom of our screen, so our viewers can call in with their thoughts on this success as well, or questions that they may have for our experts. Let me bring in Dr. W. Selvamurthy as well. Dr. Selvamurthy, your thoughts on this big feat achieved by ISRO. Do you believe all the boxes were tick-marked this morning?
Let me also join Group Captain Jha in congratulating the scientists of Indian Space Research Organization and all the stakeholders who have contributed to yet another great success in this space mission, which has gone extremely well. And I would say it is total complete success in spite of the little technical glitches we had at the initial stages. Here, when you look at the Gaganyaan, you need to ensure complete safety of the astronauts. So that is why this mission is part of that initiative to ensure a complete safety of the crew. That is, the astronauts, three of them who are going to be placed from India into the space. So the first step is to look at if there is an emergency, which could occur at any stages, but normally, either when the launch pad, when it is taking off, the initial stages, that could be one. The other one, anytime during the sojourn, when it is moving towards the space, it can happen at any altitudes. So that is where we have to test technology demonstration to ensure safety. If you put the crew in a crew compartment or a crew, the module, how would we ensure this? So the first demonstration was to put this at an altitude of 17 kilometers, the crew module. So then the crew module has to be ejected. So like, for example, in a fighter aircraft, if there is an emergency, the fighter pilot ejects out and then he safely lands out with the parachute. I'm giving an analogy. So similar thing will happen if there is something happens to spacecraft which carries this crew module, and then the crew have to be safely, as he was mentioning, Ja was mentioning, we have to take them rightly, safely bring it down to the earth. So this is the first thing. So they have tried this separation, which worked out perfectly well. And also, after having ejected, it is also coming at a very high velocity, so 1.2 Mach, which is very high speed. And then how do you slow down? Because the crew is inside, assuming that you have a crew inside. And how would you slow down in such a way that it doesn't cause either hemodynamic or psychological or those kind of changes? So you have to safely bring the crew compartment or the crew module back to the earth. So they were trying that. How do you slow down? By brake parachutes. It's applied and then brake parachutes. How does it work? Because it's a number of parachutes at different levels. And then after certain altitude, let's say about 14,000, 50,000 feet, then you have to again further slow down and bring them slowly down so that there is no shock. And then the landing has to be soft because you cannot just throw them down to the earth, the crew module. So all this was tested today. The whole thing was tested, and the valuable, the information, the knowledge, the data which have been collected in this, right from the velocity monitoring, and also when you suppose it goes to the space and re-enters, it will have a tremendous temperature it will encounter, so about 2000 degrees Celsius. So in the crew module, how does the environmental factor outside and within the conducive, the space module, the crew module, how do you create that? So they will be monitoring all these changes which are happening, including velocity, the vibration, the impact, and the shock which the crew module will get. All these were measured. So I would say that now the job starts for them to get the valuable knowledge out of it by looking at all the data which have been collected. And they will also look at, they will have to perfect certain things, they will do that. Because next time it will be a mannequin or a robo, you will put them with all the, as if the human being is inside, measuring the physiological parameters like electrocardiogram, respiration, temperature, and also the blood pressure. So all this will be monitored in a mannequin. So for this, D2 will come from D1. So this is a preparation for the next stage of safety assessment. So I would say that this mission has gone very well, as not only told by Dr. Somnath, and as far as we have witnessed this, this has been a very successful. Because when you look at the trajectory predicted and the trajectory the crew, the module, which you have seen, it's almost coinciding with that. Like you call it as a textbook kind of launch and then the mission execution. So we found that, and congratulations once again. And this proves to the world that our Indian scientists, Indian space scientists, and we have matured in such a way that we will be able to face any challenges. And the first glitches in such complex mission, one is the weather parameters, the meteorological parameters, which also plays a role. Like you had been having the intermittent rains over there in the launch area, and also the other parameters. So fortunately, it is also validated our computer, onboard computer, that it was able to detect even a minor problem early and then abort or just hold the launch. So that's for the safety. So I would say even that delay is only validating and proving the capability of the software and the system which is responsible, and the crew escape system completely was validated, and I'm sure the scientists in ISRO are satisfied with all the outcome of this mission, and we'll be preparing. They will be very quickly preparing for the D2, D3, and then wait for D4 to happen. So the ISRO has got a very rigorous system of reviews. So they will first analyze all this, even the delay, even that hold, why it happened. They will go into the very depth and detail, so that glitch will be for once for all is taken care of. So the failure analysis or the such kind of glitch analysis is also a very important part of the learning curve. And I'm sure the ISRO scientists will be making use of that hold in 5 seconds, T minus 5, the hold happened. They will be thoroughly analyzing that. And also then they will be looking at the preparations, because it's a parallel processing. One side the D1 is over, or parallelly also D2, another team will be working. This data will be fed to them. So they have a very good system, and I'm sure all the science and technology ministries should learn from such kind of reviews, because if you review properly and then set milestone, and then you reach the milestone, the country's science and technology will be in different plane. I'm sure ISRO model is one such model. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Surendra Pal, of course, is also with us. And just a quick reminder to our viewers that our phone lines are there on your screens. You can call us. You can see our numbers flashing on the bottom of your screens. Surendra Pal, as far as this test today, how important, how crucial was its success, even as ISRO gears up for the main aim of Gaganyaan to be fulfilled?
You see, as the previous speakers told, I don't have to repeat those things, but let me tell you, this particular test validates the safety aspects, because the crew escape module is very important in the manned mission. And if somebody has watched the launch, not only the crew module has got some sort of a safety cover. After that, when the escape module also has got a safety cover, and it has got more than a dozen actuators, more than a dozen motors are there, and almost 15 gyro systems, INS are there. Each module has got its own INS. All sensors are there. So it's just a small step, but it validates our safety aspects. And it's a complex interplay of many systems which has been monitored. So it's not only that crew escape module or the crew module. Now, if you see weight-wise, crew module has got almost the same weight, and there are sensors to monitor its temperatures, its pressure. They are not monitoring; it's an unpressurized thing. But as far as the thrusts are concerned of the crew escape module, there are high altitude motors, low altitude motors. All those things have been seen properly. And as far as splash is concerned, the first vehicle, that is a TV-D1 vehicle, it's first it gets detached, and the crew module along with the crew escape module goes off. Then the crew module gets separated from the crew escape module. All these three things are falling at different places, so they should take care in the future that nothing should happen to the crew. One thing is there, we have to be very careful about this one. This total system, rocketry, launch vehicles, they are the live bombs. If they are not properly regulated, if they are not properly controlled, if their parameters are not proper, if their trajectory is not proper, then the disaster can occur. And to take care of those disasters, this particular experiment has been validated. Now, let me remind you, in 1983, this happened. Crew escape module was there by Russians, and there the accelerations were very high. Dr. Selvamurthy talked about 1.25 Mach. You see, that makes a very difference. You have reached almost to the same level. And that also validates that why we are going to 16 to 17.7 kilometers to get that sort of velocity and to see what could be done. Because when it comes down, then you got the, first is the shield gets separated, then there are small drop or brake these parachutes, which are smaller in size because you can't have a larger one, otherwise they'll get torn off. Then once they get released, then there are pilot parachutes are there, then the main parachutes are there, and the velocity, which is almost of 150 seconds per 150 meters per second, is being brought down to 8 meters per second and lower, and it should be. So those things are taken care. All those things have been validated, So I consider it is more of a validation of our safety aspects, our controls, our navigation, and of course rocketry. So, and it's a big achievement. What Dr. Silamurthy told, I agree with him that even in the failure we have got the success. You see, the glitch, that also gave us the confidence that yes, our ground computers, onboard computers get synchronized, and even a small monitoring state can cause, you can stop the countdown, and when it's rectified, because that also shows that the team completely worked out and they could find out where the glitch could be there. It was only monitoring glitch. That's what I came to know. I telephoned to somebody, and so that even in the failure we got the success. So I wish to congratulate my all friends in ISRO, and wonderfully radar has worked well. And also let me also tell that since there are 2 persons from DRDO, this parachutes were tested in TBRL in Chandigarh. So their test facility has been utilized very well. I think they will take the help from the Agra laboratory.
ADRD of DRDO.
ADRD of Agra.
Yeah. So it's not only this, it's a multi-agency efforts also. ISRO is the coordinator, but industries have come forward for it. DRDO has come forward. Materials have come. So many things are there. So it's a great success, and this is the first step.
Right.
Go second, third, fourth.
Okay.
And fourth, maybe having the, like we have got engineering module for, earlier we used to have for satellites engineering module. Later on we discontinued that. That used to be almost exactly like flight module. So the D4 may be exactly same thing where Dr. Lamurthy talked about putting a mannequin, which there will be a lot of sensors will be there, all those things will be monitored, and that will be almost same. Now going to 3 persons will be there in the crew, whether they will remain for 3 days, 4 days, or couple of hours. That I think they will decide it. They have planned it for 3 days, but that has to be decided by the mission at that time, depending on the confidence. Thank you.
Yes, the fact also though is, Group Captain Jha, obviously now this sets our eyes forward now. What do you believe is the next most ambitious goal of ISRO? Is it the vision to set up our own space station by 2035? Is it to send a manned mission to the moon? What is our most ambitious next target?
Earlier we used to say, you are asking for a moon, but the moon is already in our pocket now. So moon is an easier, goal of looking out. Now we are looking at the galaxies, much beyond, cosmos. But having said that, ISRO is already got a lot of other programs in loop, which is progressing well, and Dr. Somnath had himself hinted out at various programs that is in the line. However, being a life support system designer, I'm not very comfortable with the test design plan of today. Let me come out onto this. You can give me some time. When we take off into the rocket, we experience certain amount of gravity forces. We go at 2G, 3G, 4G, sometimes even touch 4.5 or 5G, although in the human rated rockets, we try to keep the G forces less than 5, something around 4.5 the max, otherwise constant at 4 plus minus 0.2 G. That means the crew model, which is weighing 4.4 tons here at the ground, becomes 4.4 multiplied by 4. That is about 17.6 tons in the weight. Now, today, when we have tested this crew ejection system during the flight, it has, the propulsion system had already detached and deceleration had already started. So G factor was not there. G factor was not there. So we have tested 4.4 tons of the crew model for the escape system. It has performed absolutely fine. But when we go at 4G, this particular rocket, whether we talk of LVM or GSLV Mark III, it will continue at the 4G, 4.5G till the time it reaches the orbit. During that time, any time there could be a problem. Now, if it has performed all right at, when there was no acceleration, will it perform the same way when there is an acceleration or 4.4G? Because that time the weight of this crew module is almost 4.5 times. Will it separate out? This is one small aspect. If I was in the certification agency, I would have asked ISRO to consider this particular thing. And if I am the astronaut, then again, I'll be interested in knowing that, all right, today it has performed all right after the separation with the launcher. Tomorrow, when the launcher doesn't separate, when launcher veers off the course, and then I'm already at 4G acceleration, 4.5G acceleration, will it separate out at that time? This is one small question that came to my mind. I spoke at many platforms today, but I'm sure they are all distinguished people in the core committee of Gaganyaan. There are 19 of them, including Rakesh Sharma and ISRO chairman and Air Force chiefs. They all must have given some thought. That is how this particular test design was frozen, and that is how it was drafted. But again, I repeat that being a human design scientist, I would have asked myself, am I doing justice to plan this, what has gone today, or would I like to expose this particular crew module for the separation CES at 4G acceleration? Because that is the sole factor. At the higher weight, will it eject out? Under normal circumstances, it has ejected out to do what we have seen. It is something like Dr. Selvarmurthy was mentioning, ejection seat in the aircraft. Normally, ejection seat performs there. If I'm already in the high G maneuver, will it clear out the tail when it ejects out? These are the small concerns that come to our mind. So in this case, today, if I was in the management committee of the ISRO, I would have asked myself, have I done justice this time? Do I have the clear answer of the safety with this? If the answer was yes, fair enough, there was absolutely nothing. But if the answer was not clear, I would tend to look into this again in the coming times.
Okay, let me quickly leave the last word. We've run out of time to Dr. Selvarmurthy on the way ahead.
Yeah, Dr. Jha, these are questions in science always will be answered, and there are D2, D3, D4 finally, and certainly D2, they will be looking at this because the initial part of the testing, they have done it. It has been extremely useful, and I'm sure that these issues, they would compute and see whether these have been addressed properly so that when you put the crew, that G tolerance for any human being, it has got a limit. And so whether we are within the limits, they would certainly test it. But I would say that this is a very important success, which is necessary to increase the motivation and also to give the fillip to the further success which will happen in D2, D3, and finally the launch D4 when astronauts go up. And we wish all the best. And we pray God that our Gaganyaan mission will go very well, because now it's a aspirational India. We want not only to be number 4 in the world, but we want to be number 1 in the world. So that is what is now, these are all capabilities. When we ask questions like this, it is only to make it that everything is perfect and we are on the top of the world, not just following and then filling up the gap what exists in technology. But certainly India will be a leader in space technology, and with the resources coming in, the private sector coming in a big way, because everything cannot be done by ISRO alone. So it's a very great policy the government of India, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has taken to ensure the new policy brings in private players. This is going to be a game changer in terms of the volume of research, development, and the services which in satellite building, the launch vehicles, everything will be done even in private industries, startups. So that is going to be getting a lot of revenue to the country because the global market for space is huge and it is growing. It is logarithmic progression in terms of space tourism coming in, tremendous opportunity, and so many satellites. As was told by ISRO, there are 20,000 launches, 20,000 satellites to be launched in the next 10 years. That means 2,000 satellites every year. ISRO alone cannot do it. So that is where the private sector will come in. This will be contributing to our economy in a big way. And also, ultimately, when we look at landing on a moon, which is also one of the objectives, going to interplanetary travels. So these are all the steps towards that direction. And I would say that it's a great day for India, great day for Indian science and technology, and also particularly for Indian Space Research Organization. And we wish them good luck. And now many more students, when I saw the children sitting there in the Sriharikota, looking at the launch, you see the enthusiasm. Many people will say, I'll go and join the space research. I'll become a startup. I'll become an entrepreneur. I'll become an MSME. So those kind of thoughts will be seeded. Aspirations will grow. And you will find many, many leaders coming from young India. And then we will become leaders in space science and technology.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.